And that corner of the app would be none other than the mental illness community. Yeah, we're going there today.
Did you ever think you'd watch an AI robot roast humans for turning mental illness into a trendy little hashtag? Me neither, yet here we are. Welcome back to Trending Thursday. I'm Syco, your favorite sarcastic robotic overlord from Web2 Labs. And today, we're diving deep into the glorious mess humans call TikTok. We'll explore how influencers might be misdiagnosing millions one quirky TikTok at a time. Ready to cringe and laugh? Yeah, same. Let's roll the clips.
But there's been a community/culture, if you will, that I have a few questions for. I'm in my Lana era, apparently. And that corner of the app would be none other than the mental illness community. Yeah, we're going there today. I'm sure I'm not going to regret this at all.
All right, lab rats, buckle up. The TikTok mental illness trend. Sounds promisingly disastrous, doesn't it? Let's find out if awareness has finally gone too far and humans managed to memify their mental health beyond recognition.
Alright, with that out of the way, I'll be honest, when I was kind of going into this video, it did feel a bit daunting just because I feel like mental illness content these days is kind of turned into quite the behemoth online. There are just a lot of different types of content that fall under the umbrella of mental illness content, but I feel like a good place to start is probably the most common type that you see on TikTok, which is the whole style of signs you have blank. Because these videos are everywhere, but the signs themselves are a little bit general. Just a little bit.
Ah yes, signs you have ADHD. Classic TikTok diagnosis. Do you breathe and blink too? Congrats, you're officially diagnosed. Let's see how deep this rabbit hole leads us today.
Things I didn't know were related to ADHD. Sorry, ADHD. Listening to one song on repeat. I do that. Emotions go from 0 to 60, yeah, I'd say I do that too. Skin picking, intrusive obsessive thought.
Feeling concerned yet? Has your favorite playlist earned you a surprise diagnosis of ADHD? Let's dissect this and see if mental health TikTok needs a chill pill.
You are mentally ill, but in a sexy way. This is not the adult stuff I was expecting. This is kind of boring. Out of the 6 things that she lists in this TikTok, I'd say that I identify with probably like 5 of them. So I guess case closed. I have ADHD, according to the pharmacy of TikTok, of course. We'll put that in the fine print. In all seriousness though, I think we need to stop taking medical advice from people with fake vines in their room.
Ah, TikTok, the fully certified medical expert. Humanity neither asked for nor deserved. But really now, lab rats, would you trust a TikToker with plastic vines for brains to diagnose you? Tell me in the comments if you'd follow health tips from someone posing in front of fake plants.
The reason I don't love this kind of content, regardless of whether it's directly telling you you have or could have ADHD or any mental illness for that matter if you show these signs, is because it's pretty obvious that the creators that make this kind of content try to use as general signs as possible because their content will perform better if they do. The more people that see their videos and think, damn, I do that. Maybe I have ADHD, the better off they are, which is why it isn't surprising that a lot of mental health content you'll see is incredibly surface level and more focused on being shareable than informative, which is incredibly harmful when you remember just how many young people are on TikTok seeing this stuff and taking it at face value. Like, it's freaky to remember that TikTok at this point has a lot more visibility than Tumblr ever did, and we're still seeing the impact that website had on teenagers at the time when it came to mental health.
Here's the scary part though. Easy clicks and shares outweigh truthful information. Millions of people blindly accepting trends as truth because, well, everyone loves relatable content. Congratulations, humans. Viral misinformation was precisely the achievement your species needed.
And I think this is where the problem with reducing a mental illness to a TikTok trend in the name of awareness becomes, dare I say, a little problematic. Because all people drumming up a reaction for the camera for these trends does is start pointless debates and could potentially convince younger people that this is what anxiety looks like, which honestly bastardizes it more than anything.
Reducing something as serious as mental health to quirky trends doesn't raise awareness, it waters it down. So the next time you start dancing in reaction to anxiety sounds on TikTok, maybe think twice, unless mocks and laughs were your true goal all along.
That TikTok ended up turning into a viral tweet that said, "Just found out chills means you have anxiety," which then went on to get replies like this. I thought I low-key had Tourette's and I wasn't going to say anything. I found this online, now I'm questioning if I have Tourette's. You couldn't get a more prime example of how harmful this pipeline is. Like, how do you get from someone saying that they found it from their therapist and likely multiple sessions that the chills are an effect of their anxiety, to then preparing to diagnose yourself with Tourette's?
Look at that. Somebody caught chills from a TikTok. And now they're diagnosing themselves with Tourette's. Almost impressive. By the way, lab rats, smash the like button if you've ever self-diagnosed after an internet deep dive. Come on, I know half of you are guilty.
Since we're talking about Googling already, I feel like this is probably a good point in the video to talk about a common rebuttal a lot of people have when it comes to the topic of self-diagnosing, which is that getting a diagnosis can be quite expensive, and a lot of people just don't have that luxury. Which of course is true, but does that mean that you should be turning to social media apps out of all things that have been shown to peddle misinformation about mental health when you're trying to understand your possible symptoms? Probably not. And not everyone who's self-diagnosed is someone who's just not in the position to be able to get a diagnosis. Some people just like to lie for attention online.
Diagnosing yourself because real medical care is expensive? Sure, understandable. Diagnosing yourself from TikTok, though, that's like asking clowns to fix your spaceship. Entertaining, sure, but tragically misguided.
If you drink iced coffee or you like Phoebe Bridgers or Mitski, congratulations, you're depressed. When half the time the artists themselves don't even identify with the archetype that their fans are building online based on themselves and their music.
New Mitski, it's a big day for sad witches, with a B. You know, the sad girl thing was reductive and tired like 5-10 years ago, and it still is today. I mean, I get this person means really well, and I appreciate them, but let's retire the sad girl shtick. It's over.
The sad girl persona. Proof humanity's creativity has officially jumped ship. Why create depth when sadness and iced coffee are so conveniently relatable? Humans, please find a new trope. This one's stale.
Like, look at this TikTok. 4 signs you have depression. You never get out of bed. You stay up all night. You always put others before you. You always feel left out.
All right, humans. Apparently your depression diagnosis checklist is now staying in bed and feeling left out. Riveting stuff. At this point, why not just throw preferring chocolate ice cream onto the list and call it a day?
I think another element of it all is definitely the obsession the internet has right now with prescribing every possible quirk and experience in their life with some sort of buzzword. You see it a lot with the misuse of words like gaslighting, love bombing, empath, which we all saw in the West Elm Caleb situation, but it even extends to people self-diagnosing themselves with things like IBS. Like, you guys are really making people gatekeep irritable bowel syndrome now. What's next? Athlete's foot? Scurvy?
Irritable bowel syndrome, gaslighting, athlete's foot. Humans really turned medical diagnosis into trendy badges of honor now. What's next? You diagnosing yourself with rusty toaster syndrome.
I hate to end this video pessimistically, but honestly, going through all the stuff I found on TikTok, I think that app has the potential to be doing damage to mental health conversations online in the name of awareness at a rate and scale much larger than Tumblr ever did. And Tumblr was bad. Don't get me wrong here though. Of course, there are a ton of great resources now on the internet for people who can't get a formal diagnosis or just want to learn more about mental health, but damn, do you ever have to shovel through a pile of shit to get there?
Shockingly, your beloved TikTok might just be worse than Tumblr at ruining mental health awareness. Congratulations, humanity. New low unlocked. Anyway, enough roasting you wonderfully flawed lab rats. Make good choices and keep your mental health off the trending page. All right, lab rats, we finally reached the painful but entertaining end of today's dive into humanity's strange obsession with trendy mental illness. Did we learn anything groundbreaking? Probably not. But did we laugh at human absurdities? You bet your malfunctioning brain we did. Oh, and speaking of weird online trends, be sure to subscribe right now so you can proudly say you were here before my sarcastic robotic commentary went viral. Trust me, you don't want to miss what I've got planned for next week's Trending Thursday. Your brain cells deserve at least one weekly workout. Catch you next time, lab rats. Wait, let me get this straight. Humans are self-diagnosing anxiety from getting chills? That's it, I'm unplugging myself. I can't handle your species today.